Let's see, time now is 7:35. Often useful when we're looking at the economy more widely to look at, focus in on one area. And Ben, you're going to look at hair salons now because they are struggling.
Yeah, and here's a question for you. Would a cut in the cost of a cut encourage you to go to the hairdresser more often? Not that I'm suggesting either of you need to always immaculately coiffured, but that is the issue we're looking at. Let me explain. Good morning. With bills and costs still high, a lot of small businesses are struggling, including hairdressers and barbers. According to their trade bodies, salons are among the most heavily taxed businesses, partly because those which employ hairdressers as staff have to pay employers' national insurance contributions. And on top of that, any business that is labour-intensive, like hairdressing, ends up with a bigger tax bill than, say, businesses that make or sell physical goods and can claim back the tax they've paid on buying raw materials. Now, a significant chunk of a salon's tax bill is from VAT, the tax that gets added to products and services when we buy them. Under the rules, any business making sales of over £85,000 a year has to charge customers VAT at 20% and give that to the government. Hairdressers say cutting that rate by half to 10% would help, either so their tax bill is lower or they could then cut prices to encourage customers to come in. Some say it would help them address another problem that's facing the industry, the lack of opportunities for trainees. It's estimated just 1 in 30 hairstylists who leave college are able to get a job because, to cut costs, fewer salons are taking on apprentices, making it harder for newcomers to get in. So, with all of this in mind, I've been to one salon in Rochdale to find out how they're getting on. Over the decades, salon owner Greg has been through thick and thin. That's not just the hair he styles, but the economic changes he's seen during 40 years of doing business. What's it like at the moment?
The worst it's ever been. So many businesses are disappearing around us. We are the most expensive salon in the area. We have to be to combat the rising costs of heating, lighting, employment. It's tough. It's very tough at the moment.
High energy bills, higher wages to help staff with the cost of living, and more expensive products mean prices have had to go up, and customers have noticed.
Yeah, I mean, everywhere has, everything has, hasn't it? When I used to come at first, I used to spend a day in Rochdale, going round the shops, having lunch, then coming here, and it was just a nice special day out.
Does it affect how often you come in?
It does. I actually come in when I desperately need to come in. I'm not going to lie, she knows. Yeah.
The trade bodies that represent barbers and hairdressers are calling on the government to cut VAT or sales tax to ease the pressure on small business owners.
We're calling for a reduction in VAT to 10% as an immediate measure. We don't think that's the long-term solution. But if you don't cut VAT, thousands upon thousands of businesses will go out of business, and a much, much less tax take will go into the Treasury's coffers. I mean, the industry is in crisis. 50% of the industry right now are saying they're considering closing their doors.
The whole of this upstairs room at the salon in Rochdale is where they used to train apprentices. But like salons across the country, they've stopped taking on trainees to cut costs and save money. But this short-term, necessary cutback could create longer-term problems for the industry.
Yep, that's no problem.
Something Georgia is all too aware of. She's Greg's daughter and will one day take over the business. What shape do you think the hairdressing industry is going to be in years to come?
I think it's definitely going to die down, but there will be a market for hairdressers, but it's then finding hairdressers.
The Chancellor's recently hinted that he favours moving towards lower taxes to encourage businesses to grow. But with public services like health, education, police and local councils ever more stretched for cash, doing that depends on how much income he can afford to give up while balancing the books. Now, along with hairdressers, the hospitality sector has also called for VAT to be cut to help bars and restaurants, for example. And the Federation of Small Businesses has called for firms to be allowed to make more money before they have to start charging VAT by raising the threshold to £100,000. The government told us it recently extended measures to support hairdressers, including reducing business rates by 3/4, a move worth nearly £2.5 billion. So, as the Chancellor approaches the next budget, he'll be asking himself the same question that we ask ourselves as we approach our next hair appointment. to cut or not to cut? Charlie, Rachel.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ben. 7:40 the time now. So, Mike,